Hi, Neil Gittleman here, Artistic Director and Conductor of your Dayton Philharmonic Orchestra with Piano Bench Chat number 69, I think it is, for the month of November. I hope you had a wonderful October and I'm looking forward to a great November of great music at your Dayton Philharmonic Orchestra. Those 6 chords that I just played you on the piano are the opening musical sounds of the piece which will start our November Masterworks Series concert at the Dayton Philharmonic, a piece called Blue Glacier Decoy by the US composer Jennifer Jolly. Jennifer is a composer whose music I got to know a little bit a few years ago, and actually my original plan for September of 2020 to open that Masterworks Series of the Dayton Philharmonic, 2020, you know, that one that never happened. My idea was to begin with a really interesting contrasting pair of pieces by Jennifer Jolly. The first, a very loud and aggressive piece called Flight 710 from Cabo San Lucas. A really, really cool and ear-catching piece, as you can hear. And also a wonderful excuse for me to go back and catch Quentin Tarantino movie Jackie Brown, which I somehow missed when it first came out. And then pair that aggressive piece with a very gentle and beautiful piece of Jennifer Jolly's called The Ferry Crossing. And that was how we were going to open the 2020-2021 season. Of course, that never happened. And when we started working on the 21-22 season, I went back to that idea. And in the meantime, I had gotten to know some other pieces of Jennifer's, and there was another piece that really caught my ear, and that is the piece Blue Glacier Decoy, the music of which I just played you. So a word about this really amazing piece, which is what's going to open our November Masterworks Series concert at the Philharmonic. The title Blue Glacier Decoy comes actually from 2 places. It's a mashup, in effect, of 2 different things. The first is a dance piece by the great dancer and choreographer Trisha Brown, a piece that she created with the visual artist Robert Rauschenberg called Glacial Decoy. That was part of the inspiration for Jennifer Jolly's piece. The blue comes from the Blue Glacier in Olympic National Park. So Blue Glacier plus Glacial Decoy became Blue Glacier Decoy, the title of this piece. If you want to hear more about Jennifer's idea of putting this piece together, it's in the Take Note pre-concert video for this performance, and I suggest that you check it out because it's really quite interesting. In any event, the piece itself is beyond interesting. I think it's just haunting and amazing. And part of it is the fact that in addition to the music that you just heard me play on the piano, those 6 static chords, or as Jennifer says in the tempo marking at the beginning of the piece, stoic, glacial. In addition to that, you will also hear pre-recorded audio excerpts of Trisha Brown's voice as she explains some of the principles of the movements that went into her dance piece, Glacial Decoy. And I think there's something just really magical and haunting about the way Jennifer's music and Trisha Brown's voice combine. So here's what it would sound like if we were playing the audio clips along with me playing the music you just heard.
The basic premise in Glacial Decoy is that at any moment Your weight could go. Your weight could shift forward, could shift back, just tiny, tiny right now. Could shift side, could shift other side, or anywhere in between. So just give yourself a moment to feel this very mobile sense of how the balance is.
So that's the beginning of the piece. What happens afterwards is kind of a process. Gradually, those 6 chords, which you hear over and over again throughout the piece, gradually those 6 chords, as they're repeated, they start moving. Instead of just being blocks of chords held for a certain number of measures each time, you start to hear melodies of faster moving notes emerging from that sonority. So the blocks of sound sort of start fragmenting into notes. At the same time, the recorded excerpts of Trisha Brown's voice, which also cycle back, the second time you hear them, Jennifer has done something to them which I don't really understand, but she says it's an audio processing technique called granular synthesis, where she's basically fragmenting the sound of the voice, kind of in the same way that she's fragmenting the chords into melodies. So here's that first little audio clip of Trisha Brown as it's heard the first time.
The basic premise in Glacial Decoy.
And the second time with a little bit of granular synthesis.
The basic premise in Glacial Decoy.
And the third time with even more. And then the fourth time you hear that clip from the middle of the piece. So there's this marvelous and mysterious process that unfolds during the 7 or 8 minutes it takes to play Blue Glacier Decoy. And the result is just this, I think, magnificently wonderful piece of music, which will open our concert. What happens after that is very different. A powerful and strong and just amazing concerto by one of my favorite composers, Dmitri Shostakovich, with Mark Kosover, principal cellist of the Cleveland Orchestra, as our soloist. And then on the second half of the program, another of my favorite pieces by another of my favorite composers, Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky's Pathetique Symphony, which will close the program. The Pathetique is a piece that I think I've spoken about on a much, much earlier Piano Bench chat, so I won't go back into the details of that, except to say that it is one of the most beautiful and most powerful pieces in the entire repertory. And it's a piece that I think is a perfect piece for us to hear in these difficult and emotional times. So it's going to be a wonderful concert of 3 amazing pieces by 3 amazing composers, Jennifer Jolly, Dmitri Shostakovich, and Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky. And I hope you will join us for those performances. Really a big highlight of the month of November for me. Another big highlight comes up right after Thanksgiving, because the Saturday after Thanksgiving traditionally is the day that I start going into the ballet studio to watch rehearsals of Nutcracker. Dayton Ballet just began their Nutcracker rehearsals, I think, a couple of days ago, and it's always exciting to go back in, see the dancers again, see the dances, hear the music. I'm so excited that Nutcracker will be back in December, and who knows, maybe that's what I will talk about for the Piano Bench chat for December. We'll see. And I hope to see you at the Schuster Center for our performances. Take care, stay safe, stay sane, and I'll see you at the Schuster.